Welcome to Childcare Conversations, the podcast where early childhood leaders like you get real-world strategies, honest talk, and a whole lot of support. Whether you're running one center or many, we're here to help you lead with confidence and clarity. This episode is brought to you by our summer partner, Childcare Business Growth, your go-to solution for filling spots, increasing revenue, and scaling your childcare business without the burnout. We're proud to partner with a team that's as committed to your success as we are. Learn more at childcarebusinessgrowth.com. Now, let's get into today's conversation, one we think you're really going to love.
All the way from Texas, Chelyn is going to join us today, and we are so excited because she has had some awesome international recognition literally in the last month, like 3 weeks ago. And so we want to talk about her experience and that recognition. And I know that Carrie's already got a question. So we could start with having Chelyn tell us a little bit about her program.
Yeah, let's start there.
Okay. So, Chelyn, thank you, ladies, for having me.
Tell us what is the best thing about your program?
The culture.
Tell me more.
We definitely have a family. It's like a family-oriented culture, and we really respect each other. We really pick up the slack for each other. It's just a big family. I love our culture. I love our staff.
Oh, I love that. That's such a great way to identify what's really cool about your program. The other thing that I think would be really interesting to know, because if I believe right, like a year ago, you guys moved into a brand new building. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So back in 2016, I bought a small 1,500 square foot building, and there were like 4 of us teachers, and we had 34 children. I was fine with that. Then I started having a mentor tell me I needed to get out of the fishbowl and I needed to think bigger. So we doubled that and we built on. And so we had 3,000 square foot and about 9 teachers. Then last year in April, I was approached by a pastor and his wife that we had grown up together. They were getting out of the ministry and they had an 18,000 square foot building that was their church on 20 acres, and they gifted that to me. So
that's quite a gift. That's quite a gift right there.
Yes. And it is the church that my husband and I attended back in 1993. And we actually put up wallpaper that's still there back in 1993. So it was part of my heart anyway. It had always been part of my heart. And it was gifted to us. And yesterday, which this is a perfect timing, yesterday we have been in our new building for 1 year. And now we have 130 children and 28 employees.
Well, that is just awesome. And such an example of going out on faith and why sometimes coaches and mentors are a good thing, and why it's worth, listening and not sitting there looking at them like, you want me to do what? Or arguing.
It also, it's being active in your community and having an active network of people who you communicate with about what your dreams and goals are. Because I bet if that pastor, if you had only ever talked about, Psalm 23 or whatever, he would not have gone, okay, we're stepping out of this ministry. I guess I'll turn it over to another church. Instead, he's like, I'm going to give this to Chelyn to help her make her dreams come true. So I think
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, you did what people should do if they want to be successful in business, which is talk about what makes your business great and your dreams for your business.
So tell us a little bit,
that's
Chelyn,
exactly what happened.
That happens.
So tell us a little bit about the award that you won and a little bit about maybe how you felt when that happened?
So when I started with my advertising partner, mentor, um, everything, I really had no clue I was going to get the award. But since advertising and marketing and having my coach, which is so important, um, we got 30 new children in 1 month. And it was like, whoa, and then 10 more, and then 10 more. And even this week, we got 6 new additional children. But we had to fill out this form before going to CBG and ask what our monthly income was. So it was it blew my mind when I put it on paper. To be honest, I'm not a good money person. Like, I don't have all my financials together. And so I just had hired also a bookkeeper. And so I text her and I'm like, hey, how much do I make a month? How much, kind of, because it happened all so fast. It was just like 1 month, I was like 30 new children. And so she sent me that. And so I sent that to Nick, and I'm sitting there waiting. I was waiting for the awards to be over. And then he popped me with the award. And it was kind of like such an honor, because I felt like, wow, living in survival mode for that last month paid off, and I'm still here. And so it was such an honor. I was so proud of our school.
Well, I know that, Carrie and I have a little bit of a pride component here because we met with you and we talked about what you needed to do, and we said you need to get a hold of Nick. And so if I calculated this right, you've been with Childcare Business Growth for roughly what, 4 or 5 months?
Yes, we started in March, but I wasn't ready to, we started talking, so I just wasn't ready. And then I spoke with y'all again, and you're like, no, you need to talk to Nick.
So we're still talking 4 months. And so in 4 months, you've added 56 kids.
Yes.
Okay. So, um, anybody who's listening to this podcast, I want you to think about how much money you're leaving on the table with some open spots. And if you think about the amount of money you're leaving on the table, if you have open spots and you haven't looked into childcare business growth, ECE mastery, I'm hoping this testimony is something for you to at least think about, because this is not something that she did after having been with them for 6 months. You did this like literally the first month. So your first, like, you've only been on paper with them 4 months. And in 4 months, you've brought in 56 new children. Like,
Yes.
that blows my mind for anybody who, I mean, even clients I've worked with. I mean, we have great months. Like, I'll work with clients and we get to 20 or 30 new kids over that time period, and we all get really, really excited. So I am just so excited to be able to share that testimony, because I think that's powerful when people are not really sure. They're not really sure whether or not they need a marketing coach, whether they need advice, whether they need somebody to keep them accountable, because I'm sure that was a part of it. Because I know you had things you had to do. This wasn't all, company magic. Company gave you homework. So there
Yes.
were things you definitely had to do, which anybody who's listening probably struggles with coming up with their content or coming up with their ideas. And so what's great is they give you homework that's related to your content and the ideas. So,
Yes.
Carrie looks like she has another a thing.
I do. I do. So, I mean, not every program has enough spots to have 50 some odd spots. So that, because you had just moved into that newer space, and you'd gotten all the licensing handled and you'd been there long enough to feel comfortable in the space before you took this step. So I want to congratulate you on not doing it the minute you walked into the door and waiting until you were a little bit comfortable and then go, okay, I'm ready to grow this program. So good on you for taking care of yourself and your heart and your team. But how much did you have to grow your staff, and how did you go about growing your staff, either in number or in capacity to be able to handle this enrollment surge, I'm going to call it.
Right. I guess I'm going to kind of pat myself on the back. People are like texting all the time, Chelyn, I want to come work with you. I want to come work with your business, your people, because we have that reputation in our community that we're like a family. We're just, that culture is there and people are excited to work for us. And that wasn't all on me. It's just my admin team, like everybody. You have to make sure your vision's right, your mission's right, and that everybody holds on to that. And I've been so lucky to have an admin team and teachers behind me that are like, hey, you're looking for somebody? I have a really great friend that's been wanting to work for you for a long time. So we'll bring them in and interview them. And it's always worked out to where we normally have an extra, which this is so not normal in our industry that we may have an extra teacher floating around. And so, like you said, being careful, if I had any advice to give anybody also on this, is to be careful all your systems are in place. For one, your mission and your values, your vision, all of that, and then make sure those procedures are in place, those SOPs, because if not, you really live in a horrible survival mode, because it started getting there. Because what happened is when we moved from the small building to the bigger building, everything changed. Like all of our SOPs really kind of changed. It was the same, but in a different capacity. So I had to get those I had to get those fixed. And so having people know what their job is or what to do in this certain situation, that was like an extra me, there to be able to handle all that.
Oh, I love that. I love
sure.
that example, and such a great way to kind of, remind people that this wasn't an overnight thing, that you had those systems in place. And I'm sure you probably had systems in place because you probably had coaches and mentors that said, hey, how are your systems? Are you really wanting to be around all the time? Can't grow your admin team, can't grow your business if you're trying to do it all yourself. So, again, hurrah. So, Carrie, anything
Yes,
else
ma'am.
you'd like to ask before we wrap up this episode?
So when you think back to the you that took that first jump of buying that first facility, if you put yourself in her shoes, what do you think she would have to say to you, to this version of you? What would she have said to you if she'd met you at a conference?
Just what Kate said. Yay, I'm so proud of you. Um, it's always been my vision. I want to take all the children in our community. I want to be that person, but I'm proud of myself, and that's hard for me to say. And so that question really kind of set me back a minute. But yeah, I, I'm proud of um, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of our team. So thank you.
And I think that a thing that I don't know if you're giving yourself enough credit for is you are an implementer and you are coachable. A lot of owners are like, no, this is the way I do it because I came up with this system. And that will only get you to where you are. It won't necessarily get you to that next level. And you being so coachable is what has allowed you to go from that level that you thought was success with the 4 other teachers and the 32 kids to this level is only possible because you were able to take the coaching, take the mentoring, take it on board, and sometimes go, whew, I'm not quite ready for that. But then do the thoughts and the work to get yourself to a point where you're like, yeah, that coach was saying stuff that I do need to do. And not every coach is telling you stuff that you need to do, because if the coach is telling you you need to have 27 schools in the next 3 years, might not be the right coach for you. So I think knowing when to step away from a coach because that coach is no longer serving you, and, you know, being willing to talk to different ones until you find the ones that resonate with you. So I think you should definitely give yourself a hand for that, because not everybody can do that.
Thank you. I do want to put this out there. I never thought I needed advertising. And yes, I had all my stuff together. Like, this is how I've always done it. So that young lady years ago that you're talking about, that's how she was, until someone said, hey, let's look at this. And I am very coachable. I love going to trainings. I love learning more. So I got my coach. I've had one coach for 5 years. And then we've got CBG, and I never had to advertise either. I thought never, but, and then another thing is living in that scarcity, being scared of the money. Like, am I going to have the money? I'm so glad that I stepped out and hired a coach. I am so glad I stepped out and hired CBG for advertising, because, well, you see where I'm at. So I really recommend everybody to find someone that's really good to coach them.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. And usually Carrie does this, but I'm going to grab it at the end. So if you heard something that sparked some interest, or you know somebody who really needs to hear this story, share it with somebody you know. Feel free to leave us a review. We'd love to connect. So go ahead and follow or subscribe depending on your podcast app.
Or you can send us a text message that we'll send on to Chelyn, offering her your congratulations or asking her a question. So you can text the show. It's in the show notes how to text us. And if you got a question for us, or if you got something for Chelyn, go ahead and put that in. We all know how to text. It's the 2020s. We got this handled.
All right. So we will see y'all next week.
Thanks for tuning in. We love bringing you real talk and fresh insight from the world of early childhood education. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all of the latest episodes. And if you're planning a conference, training, or special event, Kate and Carrie would love to speak to your audience. You can learn more about their keynote sessions and workshops at kateandcarrie.com. If you learned something today, share the show and leave us a review below. We'll see you next time on Childcare Conversations.